Hello and welcome. I'm Naveed Hussain and you're watching The Power Game. In the skies above the Middle East, a new kind of war has unfolded. Not with fighter jets, not with tanks, but with machines that cost less than a car. Cheap, disposable, deadly. Iran's drone arsenal is reshaping modern warfare, challenging even the world's most advanced militaries. Over the past decade, Iran has quietly built one of the world's most extensive drone programs. From surveillance UAVs to loitering munition, also known as suicide drones. The Shahed 136, arguably Iran's most deadly drone, can travel up to 1,000 kilometers, striking targets across the Persian Gulf. These drones are not just weapons, they are strategy. Low-cost system designed to overwhelm expensive air defenses.
I think we have seen the drone warfare has changed the dynamics of how the wars are being fought, particularly since Ukraine war. We also saw that in the India-Pakistan war, and now we see that very clearly in the Iranian war. It can target anywhere. It doesn't have the risk of your pilot being killed. Because as you have seen now, when you can fly $200 million aircrafts or the fighter jets, but if you lose somebody or your fighter jets get shot, then you are in trouble. But you can given to that, like Iran or any other party which is using those drones, they can continue to fire thousands of drones.
Only those nations will use drones, low-cost drones. Drones come cheaper than aeroplanes, of course. So they will use the drones, cheap drones, only once when they do not have high-performance aeroplanes. For example, in this Iran war, if Iran had a very high-quality air force, they would have faced off the American and the Israeli air force with that air force. But since they did not have that air force, so therefore they were forced to use another option, asymmetric option, and that asymmetric option came to them in the form of low-cost drones.
Instead of one missile worth millions, Iran launches dozens of drones worth a fraction of the price.
How it has changed Iran, the one drone costs around $10,000 to $20,000, whereas if you want to shut down one drone, you have to use at least $100,000 or $200,000 missiles, or it can compete with the $100 million AWACS plane or the fighter plane. And this is what is happening.
That has been quoted that a 30,000 drone, Shahed drone from Iran actually entailed the use of 2 to 4 million US dollars missile, Patriot missiles to fight them off, which is a wrong assumption. Number one, if that is resorted to, the way it has been reported or normally spoken of, it's the wrong choice of a weapon against a drone. You never need a high-quality Patriot missile to take out a drone. That's a waste of effort. If you don't have anything else, of course, you will end up doing that. But then again, when you look at swarms, for example, then how many can you really use in terms of Patriot missiles to take out how many drones in a swarm? It's a wrong choice militarily, it's a wrong choice tactically, and it is obviously, in asymmetry, it's a wrong choice in terms of the price that it is going to entail.
Iran's doctrine is simple: saturation, flood the skies, confuse defenses, and break the system.
You know, what is a swarm? Swarm is basically a combination of many neutral drones, as well as some armed drones, as well as some ISR drones. So combination of all those, and the defending side doesn't know which one is which, and so therefore they are possibly taking out the wrong drones rather than the more threatening drones.
These systems can be used in massive numbers, and when these systems are used, they saturate the air defense environment. And when the air defense environment is saturated, the tracking radars, the tracking systems, they get over-occupied in simpler term, or just to understand that you have so many things coming in, you cannot see everything, or even if you can see everything, you have a limitation in targeting. You can target the X number of drones at one time. So these swarms, when they come in of the cheaper drones like Shahid, as you were saying, it becomes very, very difficult to track these.
Not every drone needs to hit, only enough to get through. Hundreds of low-cost targets force split-second decision and drain high-value interceptors.
Like in the air or fly much lower compared to the other fighter jets. So I think, and the drones are also becoming, though they are cheaper, but it depends what kind of data they are getting or what kind of intelligence they are getting. And that's what has made them deadly in this context. You can use those cheap, mass-produced drones, but if you have proper intelligence, either you have through your own real-time satellite data, or you have the navigation system which you get, or you get it from ally, then you can really create much larger damage, much more serious damage on your opposition, which might be much richer, much more powerful in pen and paper. And that's what we saw in the war, in Iran war.
Cost effectiveness, yes, that is there in terms of creating nuisance, creating some problems, creating saturation of the enemy airspace, creating some sort of a mass for the enemy to be diverted to as a fiend more than an actual effect. But when I really want to destroy something, then I need something to carry a bigger bomb, a huge bomb, something that can penetrate, and that is when I will look at more sort of solid platforms like the fighter aircraft or bomber aircraft.
In the conflict with the United States and Israel, drones made up nearly 3/4 of Iran's attacks. They are no longer a supporting tool. They are the backbone of the campaign.
They have changed the warfare, and they were very effective in the case of Gulf countries also. And you very rightly pointed out that they were able to hit the military as well as the economic targets, including the energy hubs and all that.
Launched in coordinated waves, often paired with missile to increase pressure. Each interceptor missile cost hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars, while each drone sometimes as little as tens of thousands.
Imagine if you are a drone of $10,000 to $15,000 needs a Patriot missiles which is $200 million. How that will be, how long you can compete with that? Or now the missiles which are the kind of cluster missiles getting divided on the top of the cities, and then it goes into how many Patriots or how many interceptors you can have with spending millions and millions of dollars on that, and you can really get a control over this. And that's what Israel is witnessing. There is a country which you can see not allowing any information, and even the Israeli press, which is providing the information, it's a saying that how this really fits into the kind of restrictions that they do have. They don't provide the areas, they're very, very limited areas, and whatever the social media is bringing up, there is a doubt whether these are the proper, because social medias are not verified ones. So I think it is what the ground report is. Israel has been very badly affected by the drones attacks and the missiles attacks by Iran, and the billions of dollars which has been spent by Israel and also by its allies and the supporters in the West hasn't really able to protect the country.
This is not just warfare, it's economic warfare. Each intercepted drone can cost far more to stop than it did to build.
They are not very intelligent drones. They could be kind of suicide drones or kamikaze drones or loitering drones. But when you use them in large number, then the traditional defense systems, whether they are Patriot, whether they are THAAD, whether they are Iron Dome or some other known air defense systems, they sometimes do not remain very effective. And even if they counter, the millions of dollars interceptors will be countering the drones which are costing thousands of dollars only.
The goal isn't just damage, it's to exhaust budget, strain supply chains, and erode the will to keep defending.
Look at the kind of aircraft carriers which Americans brought in. Within a week or two, they have to leave from that place, either for their own safety or we don't know what had happened. You spent hundreds of billions of dollars on these aircraft carriers, but they are not able to do the job when you need them. Similarly, the fighter jets, the kind of AWACS planes in the air, and the kind of establishment, the kind of establishment or the assets, military assets, intelligence assets, United States had in the Gulf region. They are all targeted within a very fast day. So I think it shows that even if you have those kind of traditional military hardware, which are extremely expensive, they might be technologically much more smarter, much more lethal, but in the new type of war, they really don't make much sense, or at least they will not make much more sense as the years will progress.
The world first saw this model in Ukraine, where Iranian-designed drones were used extensively. Now the same tactics are being deployed across the Middle East.
The extensive use of drones were made in the Ukraine war by Russia and by Ukraine also. You must have heard the news that some Ukrainian experts had come to UAE and other countries of the GCC to help them counter the Iranian drones. Yes, it has made a very, very significant effect on the warfare or the nature of war. Actually, it becomes more difficult for the commanders and also the operators at all the levels, whether it is the Air Force air defense system or Navy's air defense system or ground forces defense systems. It makes them very, very complicated. And the drones have been successful and they have made a significant difference in the Ukraine and Russia's war. Ukraine has been very successful in certain cases to intercept and down the drones, whereas Russia has also been affected by the attacks which were made by the Ukrainian drones. So Ukrainian war, as you were saying, or Russia-Ukraine war, has actually introduced a new chapter of warfare and in the history.
Hundreds of drones have targeted bases, cities, and energy infrastructure across the region. They blur the line between battlefield and homeland, bringing conflict directly to civilian and economic centers.
Warfares have changed because it will be impacted significantly, and the armies will have to, the militaries will have to, as I was saying earlier, devise new things, new munitions, and trainings will have to be conducted also to counter those drone systems.
Oil facilities, power grids, and logistic hubs become strategic pressure points, not just military targets. And with each strike, the message is clear. Nowhere within the range is truly out of reach.
What bin Laden was not able to do, to take, to force the American bases out of Saudi Arabia or somewhere in the Gulf, I think probably the drones will able to do it because it was very clear that the large military bases of United States is not safe, not providing security, not providing safety to the countries, not to their rulers, but also to themselves, because many of them were attacked. Many of them couldn't really sustain themselves or protect themselves even. So I think it is. That's what I say. If anyone has lost this war, or anyone has been really taken the most, has been affected by most adversely, then these are the countries in the Gulf. They have really, because the kind of false idea of safety, security, and this false idea of that their regime and their country is safe under the American base, that has completely devastated because of the few $1,000s of drones used by Iran.
What began as regional tool is now a global template. Militaries and non-state actors alike are adapting the model. Cheap, scalable, and hard to stop. The barriers to entry are falling as technology spread faster than defenses can keep up. Drones fly low. They evade radar. They can be launched from trucks, ships, even remote terrain. And most importantly, they are expendable.
They fly low and they can actually evade the air defense systems and reach there. And if they are tracked and targeted with the traditional defense systems, their tracking and targeting becomes very, very expensive. They have changed the warfare, but this is one aspect of the warfare. Other aspects like missiles, like the traditional militaries, like the aircrafts, like the Navy, they remain at their places. But this drone warfare has introduced a new dimension to the warfare.
Modern militaries were built to counter high-end targets, fighter jets, ballistic missiles. But drones exploit the gaps. Even the United States, spending billions and now expected to spend over $1 trillion on defense, is struggling to keep up. Traditional systems were not built for swarms of cheap kamikaze drones. Each engagement risked trading million-dollar interceptors for targets that cost a fraction to produce.
It's a cheaper, it's a faster, it's easy to produce in a large scale, and that's they have been doing. But it can really evade the radar in most of the cases because it can really fly low, and that's why probably it has become much more lethal.
Mass drone attacks are overwhelming even advanced air defenses due to their volume and low cost. Despite massive airstrike by the US and Israel, Iran capabilities remain intact. Some estimates suggest only about 1/3 of its missile and drone arsenal has been destroyed. However, Iran claims it still possesses 15,000 missiles and 45,000 drones. This is a war of persistence, not precision. And Iran appears to have persisted.
Persistence or consistency comes from the ability to produce the drones in larger numbers, and ability and capacity, economic capacity and military capacity to launch these drones in large numbers at one time.
The drones can be, because it's a low risk, it can fly low, and it can really take that kind of risk to go there and make a direct attack. And if you have proper satellite data, or you are given proper satellite data or navigation system, then you can easily target that. And I think that's what is the difference than if you are having a 6th generation fighter, but then the if the other people can get that kind of data or navigation, so they understand it, then they will shoot it down. And that we see that many of these fighter planes which have been shot down either by the opponent or even by the friendly fire, if there is some kind of hybrid warfare takes place and you don't know exactly what you are firing at.
What comes next may be even more dangerous. Autonomous drone swarms, artificial intelligence, self-coordinating attacks.
The AI on an instant, rather than somebody looking at map, poring over maps, trying to see which is where, and then identifying those, will perhaps be able to give you on the screen right away as to the military targets, what kind of targets are they, what are they carrying in them, what is the value, etc. And of course, you will make a value judgment also as a person, man in the loop. And then you have a list of targets then. And once when you have those, then you can identify, and the planning process becomes so much smaller.
You cannot leave it wholly to the AI. Balance will be there. You use the AI for picking up the targets, for development of the weapons, for maybe planning, for maybe strategy. But when it comes to the actual operation, it will be a mix of both. It will be a mix of automation or AI and the human control also.
Will AI ever be able to be the man who should make a decision, or replace the man who should make a decision as to what to engage? Is something that is moved. We're still struggling with it. The world is still struggling with it. And the conventional wisdom, as far as it is concerned till this time, is not to let the AI enter where you have nuclear or strategic decisions to be made, and let the man always make that decision.
Military experts warn future wars may be fought by machines at scale. Victory may no longer depend on skill alone, but on who can field the most machine fastest. A new era of warfare where quantity beats quality. Fleets of autonomous drones could strike simultaneously on multiple fronts, leaving defenders scrambling.
They have the potential to be used much more frequently, much more loosely, and they can easily target areas which probably the fighter jets and pilots would not like to do it, because there will be somebody who is managing those kind of drones in somewhere in, we have seen that those kind of managed by the young, low-ranking soldiers in some other places, or the people those who are playing the games in the computer games, and that's the way they can use those drones to kill more people. So I think it is a really serious issue. But at present, they have not. We see that still the traditional weapons like fighter jets, missiles, they have killed more people in the recent wars than the drones.
For Pakistan, the lessons are clear. The battlefield is changing, and traditional doctrine may no longer be enough. Affordable, scalable defense system, electronic warfare, and counter-drone technologies will define future security.
Pakistan should be thinking on inventing its own drones of all kinds. The names which you have given, the loitering munitions, the autonomous system, tracking for reconnaissance and all that, and targeting also. And secondly, defending against swarms or the drones. And it will end at not only the inventions, new research and development, but also production of those capabilities indigenously. I am using the word because we are working on certain drones, we are producing drones, and we are perhaps buying the drones also from other countries. But important would be that we actually get the transfer of technology, develop our own technology, and get into the production at home, because that would be cheaper. Now, as you have already very rightly pointed out, swarms of drones would be coming to us, and we should be able to send the swarms of drones to the enemy as well.
What we need to do is we need to have, like I said, a Tunguska kind of a weapon system. A weapon system that is radar controlled, quad-barreled, 6 barrels, mounted on a tracked vehicle. It has to be radar controlled, and to be with an ability to fire at a very high rate of fire. If I can fire at a very high rate, and I can actually saturate the space at which the swarm is saturated, I'll take out possibly 80-90% of those. So till the time that we continue to fire one bullet at every drone, we're going to waste resource, waste our time, and we at the end of it feel the most useless thing that we ever undertook. So we need to change the way that we look at drones, how we fight them and how we use them.
Iran drone war is not just a regional story. It's a glimpse into the future of conflict. In the Persian Gulf and beyond, low-cost, UAVs are forcing armies to adapt or be outpaced. What happens here will shape military doctrine for decades as drones redefine how battles are fought and won.